It's an outstanding result on paper, first of all, especially when you look at the fact that 8 different players scored each of the goals, which has to be some kind of record, surely. But 8-0 for Newcastle is a record away victory. Sheffield United, I'm guessing, were absolutely abysmal. Was it as one-sided as it appeared? Did Sheffield United ever look like getting into it? And there can't be any question now, can there, that Newcastle have got any kind of hangover from Champions League football, surely?
No, I think if you watch the first 20, 25 minutes of this game, you wouldn't have ever imagined it to have, turned out the way it has. I think for the first 20, 25 minutes, I thought Sheffield United made a good account of themselves. They created a couple of opportunities. Luke Thomas had a couple of really good chances at the back post, which failed to convert. But it all really their downfall came about after the first goal. They find space too easy and behind, and they're punished. And then it becomes 1-0 quickly becomes 2 and then 3 in the matter of 2 or 3 minutes. And that was really where they all fell. They kind of just fell apart. 2 set pieces, which they were undone by Dan Burn and Botman, which made it 2 or 3-0. But I just felt like it was just too easy at times for Newcastle. Having said that, they were outstanding. They were absolutely brutal in the way they kind of took them apart from the seams. They really exposed them in areas where they knew they could hurt them, particularly kind of stretching them and making the pitch as wide as they could. Thought Anthony Gordon was outstanding.
Yeah.
Anderson had a really good game in midfield. One player I thought was out of this world was Kieran Trippier. Obviously, he got 3 assists in this game. Yeah. But his cross, the bit of play for Callum Wilson's goal was so good. A bit of interplay, neat interplay around the box, and he's just such a cute little ball into the box, and Callum Wilson couldn't really miss, to be honest. It's a really momentous result for Newcastle because let's not forget they did have a tricky run at the start of the season. They've obviously turned it around in the last couple of weeks. A really good point against a very good Milan team and a hard place to go away. Obviously, they lost again. I think the last loss they had was against Brighton, a really good Brighton team. And that, like we mentioned, they had a really tough string of teams to play at the beginning of the season. I think they're coming up to a bit of a more favourable run now. Apart from they've got to play Man City in the Cup and PSG in the Champions League next, which will be a real test of their mettle, let's not forget.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing for me, and you mentioned it, Mike, is obviously 8 different goal scorers. It just shows the quality that they've got all around the pitch and everyone contributing. It was the story of their season last year. Their squad, is brilliant. I thought Sean Longstaff had a really good game. Him coming back into this team was really important when they lost, obviously, Joe Ellington, who's out for sort of an extended period. It just seems like it wasn't going to end the punishment that they were handing to Sheffield United. You thought they were going to break a new record. I thought it was going to be over 10, really.
Yeah. Well, 58% possession, which obviously is not massively dominant, but 22 shots and 15 of those on target. And obviously 8 of the 15 on target went in. So you arguably could have said that Newcastle could have been more clinical with the chances they had. But obviously 8-0 is a fantastic result and unprecedented for them to win that big, especially at Bramall Lane as well, which is supposed to be a difficult place to go. And I don't know how I expected Newcastle to perform this season because it's an unknown territory for them. Fans have never seen them have elite European competition for 20 plus years anyway. So are they a top 4 team? Are they a top 6 team? Where are they? I predict them to finish outside the top 6 and just look for European places because the competition in that area of the Premier League is really tight, and it still is. You've got obviously Brighton in 3rd, Tottenham in 4th, Liverpool in 2nd. Everything seems different this season with the exception of Man City being top. So what is Newcastle's level, and which players do you reckon will be like pivotal for them succeeding if they are to kind of push on and still continue to perform well in the Premier League this season?
I actually think, there's a couple of players that have actually come to prominence. Obviously, the likes of Anderson, and I think Anthony Gordon looks really good this season. He's coming on really strong. I think a lot of people questioned when they brought him in. Obviously, his attitude at Everton towards the end, but he's actually proved a lot of people wrong. He had a really good under 21s tournament in the summer, and he's kind of really pushed on from there. I feel like they're adding to their squad. I think their squad's a lot stronger this year. Let's not forget, obviously, they got Sandro Tonali, who didn't play in this game, came off the bench. Livramento, another really good buy for them. Lewis Hall also came on, I think made his first appearance. So they've got a much bigger squad. It's just about how Eddie Howe's going to manage it and manage all of those players, because he's actually now got this luxury where he's actually got players to turn to on the bench more so this time around. Alexander Isak didn't start this game. So he's got a luxury of talent there to use at his disposal. It's going to be just interesting to see how he kind of rotates and manages his squad in all these different competitions. Obviously now being in Europe as well, he'll definitely have his eyes set. The club will have their eyes set on getting through this group. Let's not forget they're in a very difficult group in the Champions League. If they get through that, it'll be a massive achievement for them. So that point against Milan was a really important point for them. I feel as though if they can target first to sixth, obviously fifth gets another Champions League spot now as well, doesn't it? So
yeah,
I think they've got to be realistic about it. I think the league is even stronger this year, with the exception of probably the 3 promoted teams that have come up, what they're showing so far. It's going to be really difficult. Liverpool are stronger. Brighton are arguably stronger. So it's going to be difficult to repeat, the heroic achievement that they did last season again this year. But we'll see what happens. It's exciting, isn't it?